Hello everybody and welcome back to the E60 experience. Now you're probably wondering, Andrew, why are you whispering? Has the Double Dash Motorsport Media become an ASMR channel? No, it hasn't. Although if there is a market out there for a Yorkshire based ASMR channel, do let me know. We can try and sort that out. The reason why I'm whispering is because it's 5:30 in the morning and I have neighbours and a bubble mate, housemate sleeping upstairs. It's Le Mans weekend, so we're doing a bit of a thing this weekend, all compliant with Boris and his regulations, of course. But we're back for another Club 100 vlog, and to say it's the E60 experience as we're calling it now. This is episode 4, going into round 5. Remember, we missed one earlier in the season, but we're going down to Lydd. Lydd's one of my favourite circuits. It's one that we've had some great racing at over the past few years. Great to be going back down there, but it is a long drive, so we're going to get on with that now, head down to the circuit, meet up with Howard, who's going to be racing with us today as well. Arrived at the circuit, we're all set up. I'm a little bit worried though, there is no sign of Mr. Mitchell. Obviously we have to come down in separate cars. I hope he's not done to me, I overslept. But yeah, it's quite windy down here, dry conditions. So it's going to be tricky, I think the selection is going to be quite big today as well. But the good thing is it's dry, obviously we didn't have that dry. It's not too hot, we didn't have that at Buckmore Park, so we're going to give it a good go. I'm going to try and find Howard. Needing clear. There he is.
So here we are, after that wonderful shot of Howard's derriere. We didn't get a chance to talk to Howard much on camera beforehand, mainly because I didn't want to interrupt him whilst he was setting up. It's always a bit chaotic at the start of a couple in the morning. Also what causes some chaos sometimes is new tyres. And we had new tyres for this race and this session. You can see someone's already had a bit of a spin there. If you've never driven Club 100 cars on brand new spanking tyres, note this, especially any of you UKC drivers, new drivers coming into the sport for the first time. It's like driving on a damp track. You see we're trying to get some of the tyres warm there, some aggressive tyre warming, inspired by Mr. Super GT. But yeah, you've got to be quite patient at the start of a day anyway when the engines are cold. But this was a particular one of those days with new tyres as well to bed in. But we got them bedded in, and we went on the search to see was this kart any good. And from that run down the back straight there, that's really your key spot round Lydd to find out if you've got a good kart underneath you or not. The answer was yes, this was a good kart, and we did have some good power, which was good news for the start of the day. So we made a nice move there. Up behind Alex Edwards, good to see Alex back. See, we're in this championship battle just behind him, or a little bit behind him at the moment. We did have this little incident. We were trying to keep ourselves on the back of Alex, but there were two karts that came together there, wrong place, wrong time. But at least this was in practice, got us going again. But as I said, the plan was at this stage of the free practice was to try and get up behind Alex and try and do a similar job to what we did at Shennington, and use him as a bit of a pacemaker, get a bit of a tow. But that incident there put that plan to the window. Thankfully though, the kart was fine. That's always the fear when you have some form of incident, is the kart bent like a banana. Obviously we had that at Rye House, but no, and away we go then for the first of our qualifying laps. And this was actually our fastest qualifying lap straight out the box. I think it was just a very, very clean one. Obviously you've got the two chicanes at the start of the lap, which are really, really crucial to keep your corner speed up. I love this corner, kind of the bottom parabolica. You can take a variety of lines through there. We've just kept it nice and tidy. Next is the entry into the horseshoe, probably the most tricky corner on the circuit to get right. There's a big curb on the inside. If you clout that, you're going to get things wrong. You're then got to be patient through the horseshoe, and then it's get a good exit out onto the back straight. Last couple of corners, it's a fake apex, then a late apex. We've not actually hit the apex on that lap. but that was a good one. We did go, or kept doing more laps. This was the last one, which felt pretty good. I think there must have been something wrong earlier on in the lap that meant this wasn't any quicker, but we get a great tow down the back straight to close up this lap. You can see how much we're closing there in the slipstream. That's a much better exit, but this lap wasn't quite quick enough, but it didn't matter because the first lap that we got put us P6 on the grid, P2 in class. Clive Morford getting pole position, so we were pretty happy with that. That's a good start to the day. Now, we didn't see anything from Howard in that first section, but here he is. Well, here's the front of his kart, and there's Stephen Westwood, and reintroduced back to the channel wobble cam. I decided to put the 3+ silver onto Howard just to see, you know, how bad would it be? The answer is pretty bad, but we'll tune in with wobble cam over the course of the race. Back with ourselves though, starting P6, Steve Moody immediately ahead of us in his lovely suit there, and the black and red helmet, waiting for the lights to go. We actually remember just to cut back into the tram lines at the end there, but away we go then for 1 hour round Lydd. Jason Kirk gets a great start, nips past us there into 6th place, and we kind of just follow him through, give him a little bit of a nudge, a bit of encouragement, side by side with Steve through the second of the hairpins, the chicanes. We give him a little bit of space, enough space, and then hop up the inside for 6th position. So we're pretty pleased with that start. We've got wobble cam on the go, and we can see that Howard is having a battle with Stephen Westwood, Stuart Kirk, and I think Ian Wilson in there as well. It's the first time Howard's done an E60 as well, so trying to find out how the race all breaks down early on at here at Lydd on lap number 1. You see him just getting overtaken by Stephen Westwood there. Howard raced at PFI earlier in the summer. As I say, this was kind of his first return back to proper competitive action. Back with ourselves, lap 2. Clive Morford made a little bit of a mistake there coming out of the first chicane. We then make a mistake. We just misjudged this completely. Clive brakes a little bit earlier than we were expecting. We get a contact warning for that. Steve Moody slips through. Tariq Almu slips through as well. We get back up the inside. Retakes 7th place. In some circumstances, I might have been a little bit lucky there to just get away with a contact warning. Meanwhile, back with wobble cam. Great scrap going on in about 20th position here involving Howard as Max Kenny comes flying down our inside. That was a great move by Max into the last of the right-handers, but we're going to concentrate here because this is an absolutely blinding move from Mr. Mitchell. Kirk and Wilson up ahead, and he slings it round the outside of Stephen Westwood to get that position. Here on lap 4, bit of a gap to Max Kenny. JJ Aston throws down the inside, but keep an eye out on ahead because all of a sudden we're going to see Jason Kirk very, very slow in the middle of the horseshoe. Difficult to guess which way to go. I don't think Jason knew I was there, to be honest. I don't think that was a deliberate forcing me onto the curb, but we did get a curb warning and lost a couple more positions. See, Clive got back through. Interestingly, Matt Horgan there in the yellow and black helmets gets through, and so begins the near hour-long battle with arguably the championship leader at this stage of the season in the Clubman's class. Max Kenny goes for a spin there towards the end of lap number 5. Unfortunate for him, that puts him down. He's got to have a bit of a recovery drive now. Howard's still tucked up behind the back of Stephen Westwood for 19th place, but with 8 laps gone, a 10th of the race gone, Nav Taft's leading from Tom Sved, Murray Knott and Steve Moody your top 4, Tariq Almu, Clive Morford, JJ Aston, Matt and ourselves in the top 10. Looking a little bit further down, interestingly, some of our fellow B drivers such as Alex Edwards and Ian Wilson down there in the midfields, Howard as mentioned, in the top 20 as well towards the back of the field. Still drivers looking for a move up the field, especially Mr. Broadbent there in 27th position. Going on to lap 10 then. I think we're having a look at the wobble cam here. What's going on? It's Mr. Max Kenny on the recovery drive. And a nice little thumbs up there. We always like to see that from drivers coming through the field with a bit more pace, being appreciative of their fellow competitors, not just firing them out of the way. So thank you very much, Mr. Kenny. Thumbs up to Howard. Lap 14. Interesting phase of the race this. We've got Tarek up front, Clive in line next, then JJ, Matt and ourselves. Howard's having a great battle as well. I think this was with Itchy Scratchy Racing. We can see him trying to fight his way back through and get some positions here. This is all over 23rd position. He does get a little bit lunged though into the last couple of corners. Who's it going to be? Who's that lunger? Oh, it's Mr. Steve Lindley with the sorry not sorry hand there from Mr. Lindley. We'll see him again later, but that moves Howard down to 24th position. Battle really raging on. This is when we get into territory of lapped traffic. Really key thing around Lydd. Get a little bit blocked there, and having done 20 laps up behind the back of the likes of Matt and JJ, we were a little bit worried at this stage of the race that this might be when we start to lose touch with the front runners. We still have Jason Kirk not too far behind us as well, so we've got to make sure that we get past this back marker quickly, who practically stops in the middle of chicane number 1. Such is the difference in speed at this stage of the race. Pit window is open as well, so we're 15 minutes into this one. We are thinking we're going to go long though. As long as we can get past this back marker cleanly and efficiently, we should go long. He was good off corner exit, I noticed. That, I tried to get a move set up into the horseshoe there, but it wasn't going to happen. But sometimes you've just got to stay patient with these situations, and we're going to get a good run here off the horseshoe, get a slipstream, and we know we've just got to send it now into the last braking zone. We don't have to send it too much, get back up the inside, but look at the gap, the gap that we've now got to reel in to, Matt, but we do start to do it. This was a good stage of the race for us as we yeet ourselves over the curb there, but we were able to pull ourselves back towards Matt, and that was really, really encouraging, especially because Matt's been on some great form. You can see as well JJ has started to pull away, so this really was starting to be a bit of a battle between us, between myself and Matt Horgan, to see what we could really do. But also remember, it's still early in the race, and I didn't want to fight too much. I didn't want to work with Matt if he had the pace to be on the front bumper. He does make a little bit of an error though, and this is one of those situations where you've just kind of got to go for it. I would have liked to have pushed him along, but the speed differential was too big, so we do make the move there without costing ourselves and Matt too much time. At this stage, I think I may have even given a bit of a point to say, let's try and work together, let's try and pull ourselves back towards JJ situation as we head into the middle of the race. We did that for a little while. Lap 34, I'm trying to remember what happens here. I think, yes, this is when we start catching up some more traffic. Bit of a lonely race for both myself and Howard. Howard had the tip to go long as well, and was starting to make his way up through the order. Unbeknownst to me at this time, Matt does pit behind, takes the decision to make the pit stop to try and do a bit of an undercut on us, and we've then got some more traffic to deal with. Traffic yields position there, very nice to see. That was good driving there. So it meant that we had Claudio La Rosa right up behind us, who'd been having a storming like kind of back end of the first third of the race. He had a really, really good cars, and he was starting to come into it. We're looking here at Howard, wobble cam, gets overtaken there by Melanie Broxis, and Howard has a good fight with Melanie, I think, through the majority of this race. We'll see Melanie again, and it's good to see as well, because Melanie was the driver who got taken out in the incident in practice as well that we showed earlier. Not Melanie's fault at all. Lap 39, we elect to pit. Now, we made this decision on the basis that we saw traffic up ahead. I'm not sure whether this was the right decision. However, this was a good start. We had a little bit of a slowdown there from Jimbo, which I think is always a good indicator that you've just about got the speed right. Good, clean stop. Unique thing though of Lydd, in a way, for Club 100, there's no time loop in the pit lane, so you have an abbreviated commas of lap 39 as the timing captures you, and it just looks like you've had a very, very slow lap. So we have effectively gone one lap down in that, but the thing is, everybody has to do that, and it all cycles its way back round. So technically, in terms of the order, we are now 17th. And Howard is leading in the DDMM battle in 14th, having the battle there again with Melody for 13th. He was clearly having some good fun in this one, with I think Mungo not involved in there as well. Howard falls a lap down, as we said, back round Rye House. Not always a problem. We've got to make our way through some of this traffic. This was a nervy point of the race because I wasn't quite sure how much time I was losing here. I don't think it was a terrible amount of time we were losing. We also had Matt behind us at this stage, so we'd managed to hold position through this middle part of the race. Although I'll be honest, I did not know that at this stage. I didn't have a radio man with me on this particular day in history. And again, we're just trying to be patient, moving ourselves through the traffic. Here's your leaderboard at half-time. Naftaf still leading, Tom's Ved second, Not, Morphin, Almu, Aston. All of these guys up towards the front haven't pitted at this stage of the race. Howard, as we know, hasn't pitted yet. He's in 14th. We're in 17th. And a good battle starting to brew with ourselves. Matt, Alex Edwards not too far behind, and John Buck as well. All the guys also 2 laps down have pitted at this stage of the race. Lap 46, still the Broxis Mitchell battle rages on. Trying to work out what we've got at this stage. We're still just ahead of Matt Horgan, starting to creep our way back up the order as people make pit stops. I think this is a moment where Mr. Horgan comes down the inside. There he is. Nice clean move there from Matt. And at this stage we go back into the mode we were kind of at in around lap 30. Don't fight too much with Matt. It's still a long race. Let's try and work with him, get some good pace and see what we can get in the latter third of this race. As we cut to lap number 50, we're starting to catch some traffic up again. Now here we're going to see a difference. I don't want to be too critical here of the differences between back markers who know it's an endurance race and back markers who don't. I can't remember the name of the guy in the orange suit, but we've had him a few races. We had him at PFI as well. A very respectful driver, so if this is you, thank you very much. Just keeps nicely out of the way. But Mr. Lindley, who obviously we've commentated on in the sprints, was in sprints mode here. I don't know whether he was just practicing for the following day, but this is not conducive driving to fast E60 driving, ladies and gentlemen. By the way, Howard's still having great battles there in the wobble cam, the likes of Stuart Kirk. In fact, this is Howard making a pit stop. First E60 pit stop for Mr. Mitchell and wobble cam, and so far it's looking very clean. Makes his stop, gets a squirt of the chain lube, and away he goes. And I think he re-emerges about back where he was, if a little bit higher, 20th position for Howard when he re-emerges. But yeah, Matt struggling at the moment to get past Steve, who was driving a little bit defensively. I imagine this was quite frustrating for Matt at the time. I'll be honest, at this point we were also thinking, could we take advantage of this? Could we make a move? Matt cuts to the inside there. Steve sees that it is there, yields the position, and then it's our turn. We've got to get past Steve. And this is where we lose a little bit of time, which, I'll be honest, I was a little bit miffed with at the time of this one. Steve knows we're there. I think he's going to let us through, and then, oh, that's a slight turn in there. He gave us room. But it was one of those kind of holding the defensive line around the outside. Yeah, I wasn't too best pleased at this because all the while we're losing time to Matt. And we're setting up here to try and get a move done into the Parabolica. We get a good line out of the second hairpin. At this point we think, okay, we've got the position. Steve will slot in behind. Surely he knows that he is a back marker. No, Steve doesn't know he's a back marker. Launches back down the inside. Yeah, new drivers at E60. Don't do this, please. But this time we do get back up the inside, get the move done, but we've lost a lot of time to Matt there. And we've got a bit of a job on to see, can we catch back up again? We saw this early in the race, but we do manage to reel Matt back into the last 20 laps of the race now. At this point, physically, we were feeling okay. We weren't feeling too bad, but we were conscious that we have faded in the latter stages of races before, and we didn't want to lose this good position. But we keep working our way to the back of Matt, and still at this stage we're thinking, right, if we do catch Matt's back bumper, we have just got to keep pushing him. You know, it's still a lot of racing to go, and if we can be on the back of Matt's rear bumper and try and keep him into the last 5 laps, then that's when we start battling. This is too far out to start fighting over position. because especially as Claudio was closing in behind. I didn't know this, again, no radio on this event, but Claudio was absolutely flying at this stage of the race and starting to close in again. Matt did keep having these little moments though over the curbs through the chicanes, and we're going to see a moment where he really does take a huge chunk of curb through chicane 2 and it throws him off guard a little bit. This is another one of those I've kind of got to overtake because the gap's there, we've got the overspeed and we slot down the inside for 7th place. Try and defend to the inside because now we're thinking, well, if we are in front, we'll try and keep ourselves in front and see if Matt can push us along. So we keep 7th place, but little do we know, Claudio and the Apollo rocket cart behind us is going to come flying through. And this, I'm going to be honest, took me by surprise. It was like, where on earth have you come from? But that was for a position. You can see Claudio there saying, let's go, son. I could not keep hold of his car. He absolutely charged away from us. So that was no net gain for the class positions because Claudio's in Class B as well. So we went from 3rd to 2nd, back down to 3rd. And in a short while, we're also going to slip back down to 4th as Matt slots down the inside. We fight back into the horseshoe. As I say, I was wanting to work with Matt, but at this stage it had ended up being gloves off with about 16 or 17 laps of the race to go. Lap 66, Howard there has just been lapped by Tariq Almu. Now that is a clue that he is starting to come back towards us, and that's going to get interesting in the last stage of this race. Matt goes for his big move down the inside into horseshoe. He did like that, he had that one really good. We also get wide at that point, and Max Kenny, what a recovery drive from Max. A-class driver, A-class drive, has got himself back up into the top 10. Gotta be honest, this stage of the race we were starting to flag. We weren't having the same neck cramping issues as Buckmore, but we were starting to feel the endurance of this race a little bit. We didn't completely back off, of course, but we did just think, well, we've just got to manage this now and see what we can get. Max goes down the inside of Matt there, gets 8th place, and we're now within the last 15 laps of this race. But we can just about see ahead of us on a long shot Howard closing in. We're going to focus back on wobble cam. The battle with Melanie still going on as Melanie hops back on the inside. This was for 24th position, and I think at this stage we're also getting some traffic coming through. There goes a Claudio and the rocket cart shooting away. So that just shows you just how much he tore up the road. I don't know whether he had a bit of bad luck in qualifying, but yeah, he really turned it on during the race. 10 laps to go in this one. I mean, he's just flying away. He's just absolutely flying away. He was absolutely on it. And yes, you do get kart variance in time, but you've still got to deliver it. That's what I always say about this one, so credit to him. If you're still watching, welcome to the witching hour, or the witching 10 minutes, shall we say, of this edition of the E60 Experience, where we now have dual cam of the Broxis, Mitchell and Jimmy Broadbent battle. Jimmy was having a really tough day with the car. I feel for him. I've had days like this at Lydd. I remember I had one like this in a BUKC graduates race a few years ago where you and the car just don't merge. But we did have a chat about giving him a push. We promised him a push, and here was the push to try and get him back onto the rear bumper of the guys ahead. But gentlemanly, he lets us through. That was very, very kind of Jimmy there, so thank you very much. A man not letting drivers through is Mr. Mitchell. Mr. Mitchell is on full defence mode for the DDMM brand. This was not pre-conspired at all. It was just him using his DDMM, I don't know, radar, the sense that I was coming through. He did manage to get us back into it a little bit. At this point, though, we've decided it's shake and bake time. Let's try and help Howard now and get him away from Jimmy. But this does not go well. Oh no. That is not good. That could have been really bad if I'd got another contact warning, but Howard lets us through as well. At this point of the race, we're pretty much done. However, we do decide to go full Eurobeat through the last corner. This really was the wake-up point of, whoa, let's just get this to the end. Jimmy takes advantage of that, of Howard checking up to make sure he doesn't hit me, slips through. I give a little bit of a, yeah, how about that sign. For saving the catch. Jason Kirk comes out of the pits having had a problem. It was all kicking off in the last couple of stages of Jim's race. I await to see what Jim's report on that is. I did maybe... Yeah, I didn't help Howard with that one, I'm going to be honest. But yeah, we did think, right, well, let's just get this to the end. We're not going to catch Matt. We're not going to catch Max. It's a good result that we've got underneath us. But you've still got to bring the kart home to the end of the race. And that is pretty much what we do down the back straight. Howard doing likewise. Just to see that he's been overtaken or lapped there by Alex Edwards. That gives you the example of the gap that we had over Alex. But round the final corner after 81 laps, P10, fourth in class, P23 for Howard as well. Very happy indeed.
A bit of post-race chat. We didn't get to talk to him. How does it make the face mask look cool with the shades? Your hands are gone.
I was about to do the rock symbol and then managed to do I'll call you. I don't know. Anyway, what can I say? I've just got that started.
This is a proper interview. How was the race?
On the whole, I think it's positive. Other than PFI, which was a
Cluster bomb.
shall we say, not a good way of getting back into it. Not a representative thing. This is the first time getting back to, I would say, proper, fully dry, long stint length racing. My pace felt good. My neck is killing me, and it's very similar to the problem for any of you who watched this man's vlog of the Buckmore round. My neck didn't quite, like, literally cramp up like I think this man's did back then, but wow, it's a good job helmet cameras are banned now, because otherwise it would be like that in every right-hander. But some really good battles out there. Obviously, a bit of time for the runners. Funnily enough, almost pretty much exactly a lap on me over the course of an hour. But no, good to be back. I still love Lydd. I love Lydd. It's like old school, brilliant. But no, good on the whole. I'm happy. I finished where I started, mate. You can't ask me. Well, you can ask me more than that, but it was all right. I'm happy. Should we flip roles? How was your race, sir?
P10. I'll take that. Top 10. Fourth in class. Would have been nice to drive the parts. We were riding second, third for a long time. We had a good car. That's what we were obviously worried if you saw the Dubai episode. That have a good car around here. Had it. So yeah, good points for a round that was meant to be at. You know, I think neck gate is now gone.
I was going to say, you've made up for neck gate. At a circuit where What a place to make up for neck gate. So, how's your neck?
It's just got like a little, it's like that thing out of floppy, so Jim has got some good bono, my neck is gone.
I was driving like one of those Churchill dogs that you get on your dashboard. Other wobbly car accessories are available, particularly if you drive an Alpha. But yeah, well, as a neutral to you, sir, job well done. Well, not as a neutral, as a fellow competitor, but you've had me, that's fine. Oh, yeah, I thought I was holding you up. You were trying to help. I let you by. You went a bit Tokyo Drift. You went into a drift, a YouTube personality went by me, it was all kicking off. So there we go, and now we are making the long drive home to enjoy some Le Mans.
Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you have, the subscribe button really does to his like button as well. What else is there? Notification bell. Click the notification bell. Next round is Wilton. Ooh, should be a good one for us. Are you doing that one?
I am.
Oh,
I am doing Wilton.
More shake and bake to come then. So like that. Subscribe to the channel. We'll catch you in a bit. Bye.